Listen carefully. Detachment is not coldness. Detachment is power. In a world where attention is begged for, chased, and overgiven, the woman who can step back, remain grounded, and not cling becomes unforgettable. Not because she is distant, but because she is complete. She doesn't demand validation. She doesn't fear silence. She doesn't lose herself to be chosen. And that changes everything. Detachment signals self-respect. It says, I value myself even when no one is watching. It says, I enjoy connection, but I don't depend on it to feel whole. This energy is rare, and rarity creates attraction. Self-worth is felt long before it is explained. When a woman is emotionally grounded, when she does not seek validation to feel complete, her presence communicates strength without effort. She does not need constant reassurance, constant attention, or constant proof of interest. She knows who she is whether someone chooses her or not. That internal certainty changes how others perceive her, because confidence rooted in self-respect is different from confidence built on approval. One is stable. The other is fragile. Detachment signals that her value is not negotiable. She does not overextend herself to be liked, nor does she abandon her standards to keep someone close. She enjoys connection, but she does not depend on it to feel secure. This balance sends a powerful message. Access to her life is earned, not automatic. People sense when someone is whole on their own, and that wholeness creates intrigue. It removes pressure, removes desperation, and replaces it with calm assurance. When a woman knows her worth, she doesn't rush to fill silence. She doesn't panic when responses slow down. She doesn't interpret distance as rejection. Her emotional stability allows her to remain composed where others become anxious. This composure is attractive because it reflects inner control. It shows she is not driven by fear of abandonment or the need to be chosen. She chooses herself first, and that priority shifts the dynamic completely. Self-worth also changes behavior. A woman who values herself listens more than she explains. She observes actions instead of clinging to words. She doesn't argue her needs into existence. If something feels misaligned, she steps back instead of forcing understanding. This restraint is not passive. It is intentional. It shows that she trusts her instincts and respects her emotional boundaries enough to protect them. Detachment rooted in self-worth eliminates emotional chasing. There is no need to convince, persuade, or prove value. Effort becomes mutual or it becomes absent. This clarity removes confusion and games. When someone knows she will walk away from inconsistency, it raises the level of respect in every interaction. Not because she demands it verbally, but because her actions enforce it quietly. A woman grounded in self-worth doesn't confuse attention with interest. She understands that being wanted is different from being valued. This understanding prevents her from attaching too quickly or investing emotionally without evidence. She allows time to reveal intentions. She lets consistency speak. This patience is rare, and rarity creates attraction because it reflects discernment rather than impulsivity. Detachment also communicates emotional maturity. She does not react to every mood shift or mixed signal. She doesn't take everything personally. Instead, she maintains her sense of self regardless of external behavior. Emotional maturity feels safe. It feels steady. People are drawn to those who can remain centered without becoming cold. Detachment does not mean emotional unavailability. It means emotional sovereignty. When self-worth is strong, boundaries are natural. She doesn't need to announce them dramatically. They are expressed through what she accepts and what she walks away from. Boundaries reinforce attraction because they create clarity. There is no confusion about expectations or tolerance. This clarity prevents resentment and builds respect because people understand where they stand. Self-worth also removes competition. A woman who values herself does not compare, chase, or try to outperform others for attention. She knows that alignment cannot be forced. This lack of comparison gives her a relaxed confidence. She shows up as herself without performing. Authenticity grounded in self-respect feels refreshing in a world filled with insecurity-driven behavior. Detachment shows that she enjoys connection, but she is not consumed by it. She has her own rhythm, interests, and direction. Her life does not pause, waiting for someone else's attention. This independence makes her presence feel like a choice rather than an obligation. People are drawn to what feels freely chosen rather than emotionally required. When a woman's self-worth is intact, she doesn't fear walking away. This doesn't make her threatening, it makes her honest. She understands that staying where she is not respected costs more than leaving. This willingness to let go is powerful because it demonstrates that her peace matters. Peace-centered people radiate stability, and stability is deeply attractive. Detachment, rooted in self-worth, creates emotional balance. She can care deeply without losing herself. She can connect without attachment controlling her decisions. This balance allows relationships to develop naturally rather than from fear. It shifts attraction from intensity to depth, from urgency to intention. Ultimately, self-worth changes the energy a woman brings into every interaction. There is no desperation to be seen, no anxiety to be soothed by others, no need to be constantly chosen. There is calm, presence, and clarity. This energy is felt immediately. It sets her apart without effort. It makes her memorable without performance. It draws people in not because she is withholding, but because she is whole. Attraction grows in space, not pressure. When everything is forced, rushed, or constantly pursued, desire has no room to breathe. Space allows curiosity to form. It allows imagination to engage. It allows one person to wonder instead of being overwhelmed. When a woman knows how to step back without disappearing, she creates an emotional environment where attraction can naturally expand rather than collapse under expectation. Space signals confidence. It shows that she is not afraid of pauses, distance, or silence. She doesn't chase replies or demand constant reassurance. She understands that connection doesn't need to be monitored to be real. This calm approach removes emotional tension and replaces it with intrigue. People are naturally drawn to what feels relaxed yet intentional, present yet not desperate. When space is present, effort becomes visible. Without constant availability, actions stand out. Who reaches out, who follows through, who shows consistency becomes clear. Space exposes genuine interest without confrontation or interrogation. It allows attraction to develop based on choice rather than obligation. When someone chooses to step forward without being pushed, that choice carries more meaning. Space also restores balance. When one person is always giving, initiating, and adjusting, attraction becomes lopsided. Detachment corrects this imbalance. It invites reciprocity. It allows both individuals to participate equally rather than one compensating for the other. Balanced energy feels natural and sustainable, which deepens attraction over time. Creating space doesn't mean withdrawing emotionally. It means not flooding the connection with excess attention, emotion, or expectation. It means allowing moments of absence so presence can be appreciated. Just as silence gives music its depth, space gives connection its intensity. Without it, everything blends into noise. Space activates desire because it allows anticipation. Anticipation is a powerful emotional driver. When everything is instantly accessible, there is nothing to look forward to. Detachment introduces rhythm. It creates moments where someone reflects, thinks, and feels the pull of missing you. This isn't manipulation, it's a natural response to not being overexposed. When a woman allows space, she communicates trust in herself and in the process. She doesn't try to control outcomes. She doesn't micromanage emotions. This trust feels secure, and security is attractive. It removes fear-driven behavior and replaces it with grounded presence. People feel calmer and more open around someone who isn't trying to force a result. Space also protects individuality. Attraction weakens when someone loses their sense of self to the connection. Detachment preserves identity. It allows a woman to maintain her interests, routines, and priorities. This independence keeps attraction alive because it reminds others that she has a full life beyond the interaction. People are drawn to those who add to their life, not those who need to be their entire life. In space, respect grows. When availability is not unlimited, time and attention gain value. This doesn't come from playing hard to get, but from having a life that naturally limits overexposure. Respect deepens when boundaries are felt without being announced. People instinctively value what is not endlessly accessible. Space reduces emotional dependency. Dependency creates pressure, and pressure suffocates attraction. Detachment removes the unspoken demand to constantly reassure, respond, or perform. It allows connection to feel like a choice rather than a responsibility. Choice is attractive because it feels free, and freedom invites desire rather than resistance. When space exists, communication becomes intentional. Words are chosen more carefully. Time together becomes more meaningful. Conversations carry more presence because they are not diluted by constant contact. Quality replaces quantity. This depth strengthens attraction because it creates emotional impact rather than emotional fatigue. Space also allows emotions to settle. Instead of reacting impulsively, detachment gives room for reflection. Responses become thoughtful rather than reactive. This emotional regulation signals maturity and stability. People are drawn to those who bring calm instead of chaos, clarity instead of confusion. By allowing space, a woman gives others the opportunity to invest. Investment increases attraction because people value what they contribute effort toward. When everything is given freely and immediately, there is no sense of earning connection. Space invites participation. Participation builds attachment organically. Space keeps mystery alive. Mystery doesn't mean hiding who you are. It means not revealing everything at once. It allows layers to unfold naturally. This gradual discovery maintains interest and curiosity. Attraction thrives when there is always more to learn, more to experience, more depth to explore. Detachment through space is not about distance, it is about pacing. It respects the natural rhythm of connection. It prevents burnout. It allows attraction to grow steadily rather than spike and crash. This steady growth creates emotional depth that lasts beyond initial excitement. When space is honored, attraction becomes grounded rather than volatile. It is no longer driven by anxiety or fear of loss, but by genuine interest and respect. This kind of attraction feels calm, secure, and deeply rooted. It doesn't need constant stimulation to survive. It strengthens in quiet moments, in pauses, in the space where desire has room to grow. When a woman's life is full, her energy changes completely. She is no longer searching for someone to complete her, fix her, or give her a sense of worth. She is already grounded in who she is and where she is going. This fullness is felt immediately. It shows in how she speaks, how she listens, how she moves through the world. She is not rushing to attach herself to outcomes because her happiness is not waiting on someone else's attention. Self-fulfillment creates emotional independence. An emotionally independent woman does not cling to people for stability because she has built that stability within herself. She has goals that matter to her, routines that support her growth, and values that guide her decisions. This independence is magnetic because it removes pressure from connection. There is no unspoken expectation for someone else to carry her emotional weight. Instead, connection becomes something she shares, not something she needs. When a woman is fulfilled, she shows up differently in relationships. She is more relaxed, more present, and more authentic. She doesn't overthink every interaction or read into every pause. Her sense of self doesn't rise and fall based on how much attention she receives. This steadiness feels safe and attractive because it reflects inner balance. People are drawn to those who are emotionally regulated rather than emotionally demanding. A full life creates natural detachment because attention is no longer the center of everything. Work, passions, friendships, learning, health, and personal growth occupy meaningful space. This prevents overinvestment too early and allows attraction to build at a healthy pace. When someone knows that your life continues with or without them, your presence feels chosen rather than expected. Choice carries power. Self-fulfillment also sharpens discernment. A woman who is content on her own doesn't ignore red flags just to avoid being alone. She doesn't settle for inconsistent behavior because loneliness no longer scares her. This clarity protects her energy and keeps attraction rooted in respect rather than fear. People sense when someone is not willing to compromise their peace, and that sense elevates how they are treated. When your life is full, you stop chasing connection as a source of identity. You don't mold yourself to fit what you think someone wants. You remain aligned with who you are. This authenticity is deeply attractive because it feels real. There is no performance, no over-adjustment, no emotional bargaining. You are simply present as yourself, and that presence is grounding. Fulfillment also brings confidence that doesn't need to be loud. It's reflected in calm decisions, clear boundaries, and intentional actions. You don't need to compete for attention, because you don't see attention as proof of worth. This lack of competition creates ease. You don't compare yourself to others because you are secure in your own lane. That security is rare, and rarity draws interest. A fulfilled woman doesn't confuse intensity with connection. She understands that emotional highs are not the same as emotional depth. Because her life already has meaning, she seeks alignment rather than excitement. This shifts attraction towards stability and respect. People who are drawn to her are drawn not to drama, but to depth. Self-fulfillment also makes absence powerful. When you are busy building, growing, and living with intention, you naturally create space. This space is not intentional distancing. It is the result of a meaningful life. Others feel this absence when you're not around, not because you withhold, but because your presence adds value. Value is felt most clearly when it's not constant. A full life prevents emotional overgiving. You don't pour all your energy